She handed him 3 crumpled dollar bills outside the corner store at dusk. Her tiny hand barely reached his, and her smile was missing a front tooth. His face was gray, empty, the kind of expression you see on a man who's lost everything, or is about to take everything back. She thought he just looked sad and needed a snack. She had no idea she was looking at Kim Zhao, the man who controlled every dark corner of Atlanta's underworld. And she definitely didn't know that those $3 were about to save her and her mother's life. Let's rewind to that evening, and how a child's compassion triggered the most brutal cleanup in Georgia's criminal history. If you're ready to see how $3 from a 6-year-old changed everything, smash that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me if you believe in karma. And subscribe because what happens next will leave you speechless. Now let's go back to where it all began. Mia Robinson was 6 years old, and she believed in magic. Not the fairy tale kind, but the real kind. The kind where smiling at sad people made them feel better. The kind where sharing made the world less scary. Her mother, Jessica Robinson, worked 2 jobs to keep them in their tiny apartment, and Mia knew money was tight. But she had $3 in her frozen wallet. $3 whole from her grandma's last visit before she died. That Tuesday evening, Jessica took Mia to Kim's corner store to grab milk and bread. It was October, and the sun was setting early, painting the Atlanta sky orange and purple. Jessica was exhausted, her nurse scrubs still on from her shift at Grady Memorial. She didn't notice the black SUV parked across the street, didn't notice the men inside watching the store. But Mia noticed the man sitting on the bench outside the store. He was Korean, with dark hair that was messed up and a fancy suit that was dirty and torn. There was something scary but sad about his face. His eyes were empty, staring at nothing. And even though Mia was only 6, she recognized that look. It was the same look her mama had late at night when she thought Mia was asleep and she was crying over bills at the kitchen table. "Mommy, I'll wait here," Mia said, tugging her hand free. Jessica, distracted and tired, barely looked. "Stay right outside where I can see you, baby." 2 minutes. The moment Jessica disappeared into the store, Mia walked up to the man on the bench. He didn't look at her. Up close, she could see his hands were shaking. There was dried blood on his knuckles. "Mister, are you okay?" He finally looked down. For a moment, something dangerous flashed in his eyes, then softened when he saw her. A little black girl in a pink jacket with unicorns on it, her hair in 2 puffs with purple ribbons, holding a sparkly wallet. "I'm fine, little one. Go back to your mother." "You look sad," Mia said simply. "Did something bad happen?" Kim Zhao, feared leader of the Jade Serpent Syndicate, stared at this child. 3 hours ago, his entire inner circle had turned on him. His accounts were frozen. His men were gone. His second-in-command, Vincent Park, had orchestrated a perfect coup. Zhao had barely escaped with his life, and now he was sitting on a bench with nothing but the clothes on his back, planning his revenge. And this little girl was asking if he was okay. "Yes," he said quietly. "Something very bad happened." Mia nodded seriously. She opened her frozen wallet and pulled out 3 $1 bills. "My grandma gave me this before she went to heaven. She said money helps when you're sad. You can buy a snack. Snacks make everything better." Zhao stared at the money. $3. This child was offering him $3. "I can't take your money." "But you need it more than me," Mia insisted, pushing the bills into his hand. Her small fingers were warm against his cold ones. "Grandma said we should help people who are sad. It's like planting magic seeds. The magic comes back to you later." Zhao looked at this little girl, at her bright eyes full of hope and kindness, and something cracked inside his chest. When was the last time someone had looked at him and seen a person instead of a monster? When was the last time anyone had offered him kindness expecting nothing in return? "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Mia. Mia Robinson." "What's yours?" Before Zhao could answer, Mia's mother rushed out of the store, eyes wild with panic when she saw Mia talking to a stranger. "Mia, get away from him." Jessica grabbed her daughter's hand, pulling her back. She looked at Zhao with the wariness of a single mother who'd learned to trust no one in this neighborhood. "I'm sorry, she shouldn't have bothered you." Zhao stood slowly, and Jessica took a step back. He was tall, imposing, and even disheveled. There was something commanding about him. Dangerous. Jessica had seen enough trouble in her 30 years to recognize it when she saw it. "She wasn't bothering me," Zhao said softly. He looked at the $3 in his hand, then at Mia. "Thank you. I'll remember this." Jessica hurried Mia away, glancing back nervously. As they walked toward their beat-up Honda in the parking lot, Zhao watched them go. The little girl turned and waved at him, smiling that gap-toothed smile. He waved back, and for the first time in 3 hours, he felt something other than rage. Then he noticed the black SUV across the street. 2 men got out, and Zhao recognized them immediately. Vincent's enforcers. Korean men in dark suits, and they weren't watching him. They were watching Jessica and Mia. Zhao's blood went cold. Why would Vincent's men be watching a nurse and her daughter? He moved fast, crossing the street in long strides. The men saw him coming and their hands went to their waistbands, but Zhao was already there. He grabbed the first man by the throat and slammed him against the SUV hard enough to dent the metal. "Why are you watching them?" His voice was ice. The man choked, clawing at Zhao's hand. The second enforcer pulled a gun, but Zhao was faster. He released the first man and disarmed the second in one fluid motion, twisting his wrist until bones cracked and pressing the gun under his chin. "Answer me, or I paint this parking lot with your brain." The woman, the enforcer gasped, cradling his broken wrist. She saw something last week. Vincent's meeting at the warehouse on Cypress Street. She was there dropping off medical supplies for the clinic next door, saw faces she shouldn't have seen. Vincent wants her handled quietly. Her and the kid. No witnesses. Zhao's vision went red. When? Tonight. We're supposed to make it look like a robbery gone wrong at their apartment. Across the parking lot, Jessica was buckling Mia into their old Honda, completely unaware that two men had been seconds away from following them home to kill them both. Zhao looked down at the 3 crumpled dollars still in his left hand. This little girl's magic seeds. She'd given him her last $3 because he looked sad, and in return, he'd just discovered her mother was marked for death by his own organization. The universe had a sick sense of humor. "How many men does Vincent have on this?" Zhao asked, his voice deadly calm. "Just us two." He wanted it quiet. Low profile. "Wrong answer," Zhao said. "He sent you two because he thought I was dead, and this would be easy." He slammed the gun into the man's temple, knocking him unconscious, then did the same to the first enforcer. Both men crumpled to the ground. Zhao pulled out their phones, wallets, and weapons. He found what he was looking for in the second man's phone. Text messages. Addresses. Vincent had sent them Jessica Robinson's home address, her work schedule, her daughter's school. Everything. They'd been planning this for 3 days. Zhao's jaw clenched. He pocketed the phones and looked back at Jessica's car pulling out of the parking lot. She had no idea how close to death she was. No idea that her simple act of working an extra shift at the wrong clinic had put a target on her back. But now she had something Vincent didn't count on. She had Kim Zhao's protection. And anyone who touched that little girl or her mother would learn why Zhao had built an empire in the first place. He dragged both unconscious men into their own SUV and took their keys. Within minutes, he was driving toward the one place he knew he could still trust. The one person Vincent wouldn't have gotten to yet. 20 minutes later, Zhao pulled up to a small house in East Atlanta. He killed the engine and sat there for a moment, staring at the $3 on the passenger seat. A 6-year-old's entire fortune, given freely to a stranger because he looked sad. Mia Robinson had no idea she'd just saved herself and her mother. Zhao got out and walked to the front door. Before he could knock, it opened. An elderly Korean woman stood there, barely 5 feet tall, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her eyes widened when she saw him. "Zhao Ya," she whispered. "They said you were dead." "Not yet, Aunt May, but I need your help." May ushered him inside quickly, locking the door behind them. Her small living room smelled like incense and tea. Photos covered the walls. Family. History. A life built on loyalty and blood. "Vincent has turned on you," May said. It wasn't a question. Everyone has. Accounts frozen. Men scattered. He planned it perfectly. Zhao sat on her couch, and for the first time since the coup, he let himself feel the exhaustion. But he made a mistake. What mistake? He's targeting a woman and her daughter. Witnesses to a meeting. He sent men to kill them tonight. May's expression hardened. Children. He targets children now. A 6-year-old girl. Zhao pulled out the $3 and set them on May's coffee table. "She gave me this an hour ago. Thought I looked sad. Wanted to help." May stared at the money, then at Zhao. Understanding dawned in her eyes. "And now you protect her." "I protect them both. But I need resources. I need to know who stayed loyal." May disappeared into her bedroom and returned with a small black book. The old guard. The ones who remember why we built this organization in the first place. Not for greed. For protection. For family. She flipped through pages filled with Korean characters and phone numbers. Vincent is young. Ambitious. He forgot the old ways. But these men remember. She handed Zhao the book. Inside were 23 names. 23 men who'd been with Zhao from the beginning. Men who understood honor before profit. "Call them," May said. "They've been waiting for you to rise from the dead." Zhao pulled out one of the enforcer's phones and started dialing. The first number rang 3 times before a gruff voice answered in Korean. "Who is this?" "It's Zhao." Silence. Then, "Brother, we thought. I know what you thought. Vincent made sure of that. But I'm alive, and I'm taking back what's mine. Are you with me? Always. What do you need? How many men can you trust? Really trust? 15. Maybe 20. All old guard. Good. I need them ready in 2 hours. Full gear. We're cleaning house tonight." Zhao paused. "But first, I need a protective detail. A woman and her 6-year-old daughter." Jessica and Mia Robinson. They live at Pinewood Apartments on Glenwood. Vincent has them marked. I need them alive and safe. Non-negotiable. Consider it done. I'll send Quan and Lee. Best we have. Tell them the little girl is priority one. Anything happens to her, I'll kill everyone involved myself. Zhao made 11 more calls. Each one the same. Shock. Relief. Then immediate loyalty. By the time he finished, he had 43 men ready to move. Not the 100 he'd had before, but these were believers. These were men who'd died before betraying him. May brought him tea and fresh clothes. What's your plan? Vincent thinks I'm dead. He's celebrating right now, dividing my empire among traitors. He won't expect me to move this fast. Zhao sipped the tea. It was bitter and perfect. I'm going to hit him where he feels safest. His penthouse. Tonight. But first, I'm making sure Jessica and Mia are protected. And then I'm going to remind everyone in this city why they feared my name. If you're wondering how a fallen mafia boss is about to turn the tables with just 43 loyal men, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think happens next. And subscribe because the revenge is about to get brutal. At 8:47 p.m., Jessica Robinson was making mac and cheese in their tiny apartment kitchen while Mia colored at the table. She had no idea that 2 men in a black sedan were parked outside her building, watching her windows. And she definitely didn't know that 4 other men, sent by Kim Zhao, had just arrived and were currently holding those 2 men at gunpoint in the parking garage. Quan pressed his gun against the first enforcer's temple. You move, you die. You call for help, you die. You breathe too loud, you die. Understand. The enforcer nodded frantically. Lee zip-tied both men and dragged them into the back of their own vehicle. Boss wants them alive for questioning. Lucky you. He pulled out his phone and texted Zhao. Package secured. Target safe. In position. Inside the apartment, Jessica was exhausted. Her feet ached from a 12-hour shift, and she still had to give Mia a bath, read her a story, and somehow find the energy to study for her nursing certification exam. Being a single mother was like running a marathon every single day with no finish line. Mama, look. Mia held up her drawing. It was a picture of a stick-figure girl handing money to a sad man. That's me helping the sad mister today. Jessica's stomach tightened. She'd been trying not to think about that man outside the store. Something about him had felt dangerous, and the way he'd looked at Mia, like he was seeing a ghost, had unsettled her. Baby, I told you not to talk to strangers. But he was sad, Mama. And Grandma said. I know what Grandma said, but the world isn't always safe, Mia. Jessica knelt down beside her daughter, pushing one of her puffs back gently. Not everyone is nice. Some people are dangerous. But he wasn't dangerous. He was just sad. Mia's 6-year-old logic was absolute. I planted a magic seed, Mama. Grandma said the magic comes back. Jessica pulled her daughter close, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo. If only the world worked the way Mia believed it did. If only kindness always came back as magic. She had no idea it already had. Across town, Kim Zhao stood in May's bathroom, staring at himself in the mirror. He'd showered and changed into black tactical gear. His knuckles were bandaged, and the cut above his eyebrow was cleaned and sealed. He looked like himself again. Dangerous. Focused. Ready. But he kept thinking about that little girl's smile. That gap-toothed grin and those $3. His phone buzzed. A text from Quan. Target secure. 2 hostiles neutralized. Family unaware. Awaiting orders. Zhao typed back. Maintain position. No one in or out. I'm moving on Vincent in 1 hour. He walked back into May's living room, where 15 men were gearing up. Weapons were checked. Magazines loaded. Radios tested. These were the old guard. Men in their 40s and 50s who'd built the Jade Serpent Syndicate from nothing. Men who remembered when they were protectors of Koreatown, not predators. Listen up, Zhao said, and every man stopped and turned. Tonight we take back what's ours. But we do it clean. Legal where possible. Brutal where necessary. Vincent has forgotten the rules we built this organization on. He's targeting civilians. Innocent people. A woman and her 6-year-old daughter. The men's faces hardened. There were lines you didn't cross. Children were the brightest one. I want Vincent alive, Zhao continued. Everyone else loyal to him, I want accounted for. We're not starting a war. We're ending a rebellion. Fast. Surgical. By midnight, the Jade Serpent Syndicate returns to legitimate operations. No more drugs. No more protection rackets. We go clean. One of the older men, Park, raised an eyebrow. Clean? Boss, that's our revenue. Our revenue is killing us, Zhao said. Vincent's coup happened because we got greedy. Sloppy. Started cutting corners and hurting people who didn't deserve it. That ends tonight. We have legitimate businesses. Restaurants. Import companies. Real estate. We focus on those. The illegal operations get shut down or transferred to people I trust to run them right. The men exchanged looks. This was radical. But Zhao had never steered them wrong before. What about the girl? May asked quietly. After tonight, what happens to her and her mother? Zhao pulled out the $3 and held them up. This little girl gave me everything she had because I looked sad. She didn't know me, didn't want anything back, just wanted to help. He pocketed the money. I'm going to make sure she never has to worry about money again. Her mother's nursing school debt? Paid. Their rent? Paid. That little girl is going to grow up safe and happy if I have to burn down everyone who threatens that. May smiled. Your father would be proud. This is the man he raised. Zhao's jaw tightened. His father had built the Jade Serpent Syndicate to protect Korean immigrants from gangs and corrupt cops. Somewhere along the way, they'd become what they fought against. But tonight, that changed. Move out, Zhao commanded. Vincent's at his penthouse in Buckhead. 16 men with him, maybe 20. We hit hard and fast. Park, you lead the assault team. Jean, you're on tech. Cut his communications first. I want him isolated. The men moved with military precision, filing out to the vehicles waiting outside. Zhao was the last to leave. He turned to May. If this goes wrong. It won't, May said firmly. But if it does, the girl and her mother are protected. I give you my word. Zhao nodded and left. At 9:23 p.m., Vincent Park was celebrating in his penthouse overlooking Atlanta's skyline. Champagne flowed. Music thumped. 18 men who'd betrayed Zhao were toasting their new positions in the organization. Vincent stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, feeling like a king. To the new era, he shouted, raising his glass. No more old guard holding us back. No more honor before profit. We take what we want, when we want it. The men cheered. Vincent's phone buzzed. A text from his enforcers who were supposed to handle the Robinson woman. Still in position, waiting for target to sleep. We'll move at midnight. Vincent smiled. Loose ends tied up. Zhao dead. The organization his. Everything was perfect. Then the lights went out. The music died. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Vincent's men immediately drew weapons, forming a protective circle around him. What the hell? Vincent started. The penthouse door exploded inward. Flashbangs detonated, blinding and deafening everyone inside. Then Zhao's men poured in like a flood. It wasn't a fight. It was an execution. Tactical. Precise. Within 90 seconds, all 18 of Vincent's men were on the ground, zip-tied, guns to their heads. Vincent found himself on his knees, hands behind his head, staring up at a ghost. Kim Zhao walked through the smoke and chaos like death incarnate. He looked down at Vincent with empty eyes. You made 3 mistakes, Zhao said quietly. First, you assumed loyalty could be bought. Second, you forgot the old guard remembers who built this organization. Third, and most importantly, you threatened a 6-year-old girl. Vincent's face went pale. What? I don't know what. Jessica Robinson. Nurse. Saw your meeting at the Cypress warehouse. You sent men to kill her and her daughter tonight. A little girl named Mia. Zhao crouched down, getting eye level with Vincent. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? It was just business, Zhao. She saw faces. Names. We couldn't risk. Zhao backhanded him so hard Vincent's lip split. She's 6 years old. How do you even know about? Because that little girl gave me $3 tonight. Thought I looked sad. Wanted to buy me a snack. Zhao stood. And then I found your men watching her. Planning to murder her in her sleep. So now, Vincent, you're going to fix this. Legally. Vincent spat blood. What are you talking about? You're going to confess. Everything. The warehouse meeting. The illegal operations. The money laundering. All of it. And you're going to do it in a way that keeps Jessica Robinson's name completely out of it. She's a witness who will never have to testify because you're going to give the police everything they need without her. You're insane. I'll get life. You'll get 20 years with good behavior. Maybe 15. And you'll be alive. Zhao's voice dropped to a whisper. Because if you don't do exactly what I say, I will make sure your death takes days. And everyone you love will watch. Vincent stared into Zhao's eyes and saw the truth there. This wasn't a bluff. Okay, he whispered. Okay, I'll do it. Want to see how Zhao makes sure Vincent keeps his word and what he does for little Mia and her mother? Drop a like right now. Subscribe and comment whether you think Zhao should go fully legal or keep one foot in the underworld. At 10:15 p.m., Detective Marcus Wright of the Atlanta PD's Organized Crime Unit received an anonymous call. There's a confession waiting for you at the Buckhead Azure penthouse. Top floor. Vincent Park. He's ready to talk about the Jade Serpent Syndicate. Everything. Bring a prosecutor. You'll want this on record. The line went dead. Wright stared at his phone. Vincent Park was one of the most wanted men in Atlanta's underworld, but they'd never been able to touch him. And now someone was just handing him over? It smelled like a trap. But Wright had been chasing the Jade Serpent Syndicate for 5 years. He couldn't ignore this. He called his partner, grabbed a prosecutor from the DA's night shift, and headed to Buckhead with a full tactical team. When they breached the penthouse at 10:47 p.m., they found Vincent Park sitting in a chair, hands zip-tied behind his back, surrounded by 18 other bound men. No sign of whoever had left them there. On the coffee table sat a laptop, open and running. A video file labeled Confession was queued and ready to play. Vincent looked up at the detective with dead eyes. I want a deal. Full immunity for cooperation. I'll give you everything. Wright couldn't believe his luck. Everything. Names, locations, bank accounts, operations across 6 states. The whole organization. Vincent swallowed hard. But I have conditions. You're not exactly in a position to negotiate. There's a nurse, Jessica Robinson. She witnessed a meeting. I want her name completely out of this. No testimony. No record she was ever involved. You use my confession and the evidence on that laptop. She never exists in this case. Wright frowned. Why do you care about protecting a witness? Because if I don't, someone worse than the police will come for me. Vincent glanced at the shadows, like he expected Zhao to materialize from them. Do we have a deal or not? The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Linda Chun, stepped forward. If your evidence is as good as you claim, we can work something out. But you're still doing time. I know. Vincent's voice was hollow. Just make sure Jessica Robinson and her daughter stay safe and anonymous. That's all I ask. 3 hours later, Vincent Park had given the Atlanta PD the biggest organized crime bust in Georgia history. Names, dates, transactions, warehouse locations, corrupt officials on the payroll. Everything. And true to the deal, Jessica Robinson's name never appeared in a single document. By 2 a.m., the APD had arrest warrants for 47 individuals connected to the Jade Serpent Syndicate. The organization that had controlled Atlanta's underworld for 15 years was being systematically dismantled. But Vincent kept one secret. He never mentioned Kim Zhao's name. Not once. Because he knew Zhao was listening, watching. And if Vincent crossed him, no prison in the world would keep him safe. Kim Zhao stood in the parking garage of Jessica Robinson's apartment building, watching the news on his phone. Breaking story. Major organized crime bust. Vincent Park in custody. The Jade Serpent Syndicate crumbling. Perfect. Quan approached quietly. Boss, what now? Half our operations are about to be raided. Let them. I gave Vincent the locations of everything we're shutting down anyway. The illegal operations. The dirty money. Let the police clean it up for us. Zhao pocketed his phone. We're going legitimate. Real estate. Restaurants. Import business. All legal. All clean. And the men who stayed loyal? They transition with us. New jobs. Legal jobs. Better pay. Anyone who can't handle going straight gets a severance package and a recommendation to retire. Zhao looked up at the third-floor window where a light still glowed in the Robinson apartment. We're done being criminals. Starting now. Because of a little girl's $3? Quan asked, not mockingly, but genuinely curious. Because I remembered why my father started this organization. To protect people, not hurt them. Zhao started walking toward his car. Make sure the detail on the Robinsons stays active. 24/7. I don't care if it costs a fortune. That little girl and her mother are untouchable. Spread the word. Already done, boss. Zhao drove to his lawyer's office, arriving at 3 a.m. His attorney, David Kim, was already awake and waiting, because when Kim Zhao called at 2:30 in the morning, you woke up. I need you to set up a trust fund, Zhao said. Anonymous donor. Beneficiary is a 6-year-old girl named Mia Robinson and her mother, Jessica Robinson. David pulled out a legal pad. How much are we talking? Start with $2 million. Structured so Jessica gets a monthly stipend that covers rent, bills, and her daughter's expenses. The rest locked in a trust for Mia's education. College. Medical school if she wants it. Whatever she needs. David's pen paused. $2 million? For a child you just met. She gave me $3 when I had nothing, Zhao said simply. I'm just returning the investment with interest. This is about more than money, isn't it? Zhao was quiet for a moment. I've spent 15 years building an empire that hurt people. Made money off suffering. That little girl looked at me and saw someone worth helping. Not a criminal. Not a monster. Just a sad person who needed kindness. He met David's eyes. I'm not going to let the world take that away from her. She's going to grow up safe. Happy. With opportunities one never had. And the mother? Jessica. Her nursing school debt gets paid off. Anonymously. Make it look like a scholarship or grant. Something she won't question. And the apartment building she lives in? I want to buy it. Quietly. Through shell companies. Then I want the rent frozen at current rates for all tenants. No increases. No evictions unless absolutely necessary. David whistled low. You're talking about becoming a philanthropist. I'm talking about doing something right for once. Zhao stood. How fast can you make this happen? The trust? 3 days. The debt payoff? A week. The building purchase? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Make it 2. And David? Zhao paused at the door. If anything happens to me, that trust is ironclad. No one touches it. Mia Robinson gets every penny when she turns 18, and her mother keeps getting support until then. Understood. Understood. Zhao left and drove to a 24-hour diner in Decatur. He ordered coffee and sat in a booth by the window, watching the sun start to rise over Atlanta. His phone buzzed constantly. News alerts. Police scanners. The Jade Serpent Syndicate was falling apart in real time. Good. Let it burn. He pulled out the 3 crumpled dollar bills and smoothed them on the table. A 6-year-old's entire fortune. Her grandmother's last gift. And she'd given it to a stranger because he looked sad. Zhao had killed men for less than $3. Had ordered executions over perceived disrespect. Had built an empire on fear and violence. And in one moment, a little girl's kindness had made him see how far he'd fallen. His phone rang. May's number. The news is everywhere, she said. You did it. Vincent did it. I just motivated him. And the girl? Taken care of. She and her mother will never have to worry about money again. I'm making sure of it. May was quiet for a moment. Your father would be proud, Zhao. You're becoming the man he raised you to be. I'm trying, Aunt May. I'm trying. 3 days later, Jessica Robinson received a letter from the Georgia Nursing Scholarship Foundation. She'd been selected for a full debt forgiveness grant. All $47,000 of her student loans completely erased. She cried for 20 minutes in her apartment kitchen while Mia asked why Mama was sad happy. Magic seeds, baby, Jessica whispered, holding the letter. Your grandma's magic seeds. She had no idea how right she was. 1 week later, the management company that owned Pinewood Apartments was bought out by a private investment firm. All tenants received letters informing them that rent would be frozen at current rates indefinitely, and building maintenance would be significantly improved. Jessica thought it was too good to be true, but the improvements started immediately. New security, fixed elevators, repainted hallways. The landlord who used to ignore their complaints was suddenly responsive and helpful. Mia insisted it was magic. Jessica was starting to believe her. 2 weeks later, Jessica came home from her shift to find Mia coloring at the kitchen table, humming happily. Mama, I saw the sad mister again. Jessica's heart stopped. What? Where? Outside. He was in a car. But he wasn't sad anymore. He smiled at me. Jessica ran to the window. The street was empty except for a black sedan pulling away. She caught a glimpse of the driver. Korean man. Expensive suit. The same man from outside the store. Her blood ran cold. Why was he here? Why was he watching them? She grabbed her phone and nearly called 911. But something stopped her. If he wanted to hurt them, he'd have done it by now. And all these good things happening, the scholarship, the building improvements, they'd started right after that night at the store. No, it couldn't be, could it? Jessica sat down slowly, staring at the letter from the Scholarship Foundation, at the notice from the new building management, at her daughter coloring happily, completely unaware. Mia, baby, what did Grandma say about magic seeds? That when you plant kindness, magic grows back. Mia grinned. And the magic comes back bigger than what you planted. $3. Mia had planted $3. And somehow, impossibly, the magic had come back. Are you starting to see how this little girl's kindness changed everything? Smash that like button if you believe in karma. Comment what you would do with $3 if you could change someone's life. And subscribe because we're about to see just how far Zhao is willing to go to protect this family. 6 months passed. The Jade Serpent Syndicate was gone. Vincent Park was serving 18 years in federal prison. 43 men who'd participated in illegal operations took plea deals or went to trial. The ones who'd stayed loyal to Zhao transitioned into legitimate businesses, and Atlanta's underworld power structure shifted completely. Kim Zhao became a ghost. Legally, he didn't exist in any of the prosecutions. Vincent had kept his word and never mentioned his name. The federal investigation couldn't tie Zhao to anything concrete, so they moved on to easier targets. Zhao used that freedom to rebuild. Differently this time. He turned his restaurants into community gathering places that hired ex-convicts trying to go straight. His real estate investments focused on affordable housing. His import business partnered with small Korean and Black-owned retailers, helping them access better products at fair prices. He wasn't a saint. He still had connections, still had power, still had men who'd die for him. But he used that power differently now. To protect instead of exploit. To build instead of destroy. And every single day, he thought about a 6-year-old girl's $3. Jessica Robinson's life had transformed in ways she still couldn't fully understand. The scholarship, the apartment improvements. Then, mysteriously, she was offered a full-time position at Grady Memorial with better pay and benefits. Her supervisor said a generous anonymous donor had funded new nursing positions, and Jessica was their top choice. She accepted, crying with gratitude. Mia thrived. She was 7 now, excelling in 2nd grade, still believing in magic and kindness. Still talking about the sad mister she'd helped. Convinced her $3 had planted seeds that grew into all the good things happening to them. Jessica had stopped questioning it. Sometimes, you just accepted blessings and moved forward. But she never forgot the man outside the convenience store. And sometimes, late at night, she wondered if Mia's childish faith was actually closer to the truth than Jessica wanted to admit. On a Tuesday evening in April, Jessica took Mia to the park near their apartment. It was one of those perfect Atlanta spring days, warm but not hot, with dogwoods blooming everywhere. Mia played on the swings while Jessica sat on a bench, reading a nursing journal. Then she heard Mia's voice, bright and excited. "Mister, you're not sad anymore." Jessica's head snapped up. Kim Zhao stood near the swings, hands in the pockets of an expensive but understated suit. He looked different than that night 6 months ago. Cleaner, calmer. But those eyes were the same, deep and dark and carrying weight. Mia ran up to him, gap-toothed grin wide. "See, Mama. I told you I saw him. The magic worked." Jessica stood slowly, every maternal instinct screaming at her to grab Mia and run. But Zhao made no threatening moves. He just looked at Mia with something like wonder. "Hello, Mia," he said softly. "You remember me. Of course. You were sad, and I gave you my $3. Did it help?" Zhao crouched down to her eye level. "It helped more than you could ever know. You saved my life that day." "Really?" Mia's eyes went wide. "Really?" Jessica walked over, positioning herself between Zhao and her daughter. "Mia, go play for a minute. Mama needs to talk to this man." "But Mama." "Now, baby." Mia pouted but obeyed, running back to the swings. Jessica turned to face Zhao, her heart hammering. Up close, she could see he wasn't young. Probably late 30s. There were scars on his knuckles and a faint one above his eyebrow. "Who are you?" Jessica asked quietly. "And why have you been watching us?" "My name is Kim Zhao, and I've been watching you because 6 months ago, your daughter gave me $3 when I had nothing. Then I discovered that you and she were about to be killed." Jessica's blood went cold. "What? You witnessed something you shouldn't have. A meeting. Faces. Names. People decided you were a liability. They sent men to kill you and Mia. Make it look like a robbery." Zhao's voice was matter of fact. "I stopped them." Jessica's legs went weak. She sat down hard on the bench. "The scholarship. The apartment. My job. That was you. Your daughter gave me everything she had. I'm simply returning the favor with interest." "But why? We're nobody. We're just." "Your daughter saw a broken man and decided to help him. Not because she wanted something back. Just because it was the right thing to do." Zhao looked at Mia on the swings, laughing as she pumped her legs. "In my world, that kind of kindness doesn't exist. Everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. But not her. She just wanted to help someone who looked sad." Tears burned Jessica's eyes. "So you've been protecting us? For 6 months. I've been making sure you're safe. That you have opportunities. That Mia grows up in a world where kindness is rewarded, not punished." Zhao pulled an envelope from his jacket and handed it to Jessica. "This is for you." Jessica opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a bank statement for a trust fund. In Mia's name. The balance made her gasp. $2 million. "I can't accept this," Jessica whispered. "This is insane. It's already done. The trust is ironclad. When Mia turns 18, she'll have access to everything. College, medical school, whatever she dreams of. And until then, you'll receive monthly support to make sure she never goes without." "But this is too much." "For $3. Your daughter taught me something I'd forgotten," Zhao interrupted gently. "That kindness matters. That one small act of compassion can change everything. She gave me $3 and saved my soul. This is the least I can do." Jessica stared at this dangerous, powerful man who'd apparently dismantled criminal organizations and restructured his entire life because a 6-year-old was nice to him. "Are you still?" She hesitated. "Are you still dangerous?" "I'm still powerful. I still have connections. But I don't hurt people anymore. I protect them." Zhao stood. "You and Mia will always be protected. No one will ever threaten you again. I give you my word." "Why should I trust you?" "Because if I wanted to hurt you, I would have. Instead, I've spent 6 months and a considerable fortune making sure you're safe and happy." Zhao started to walk away, then paused. "One more thing. In that envelope is also my lawyer's contact information. If you ever need anything, help with anything, you call him. No questions asked." "Wait," Jessica called. "Will we see you again?" Zhao looked back at Mia, still playing, still innocent, still believing in magic. "Only from a distance. I'm not the kind of man who belongs in her world. But I'll always make sure her world is safe." He walked away, disappearing into the park like smoke. Mia ran back to Jessica, breathless and happy. "Mama, wasn't it nice to see him again? He's not sad anymore." Jessica pulled her daughter close, breathing in her strawberry shampoo, feeling the weight of the envelope in her hand. $2 million. A future. Safety. All because her 7-year-old daughter believed in magic seeds. "Yeah, baby," Jessica whispered. "It was nice. Your magic worked. I told you, Mama. Grandma said kindness always comes back bigger." And as Jessica held her daughter, Watching the sunset paint the Atlanta sky in oranges and purples, she realized that maybe, just maybe, magic was real after all. Across the park, Kim Zhao sat in his car, watching them through tinted windows. On his dashboard sat $3 in a small frame. 3 crumpled bills that had changed his life. He'd built an empire on fear and violence. And a 6-year-old girl had torn it down with nothing but kindness. He smiled, started his car, and drove away. Some debts could never be repaid, but he'd spend the rest of his life trying. Because that's what you did when someone showed you who you could be, instead of who you were. That's what you did when a child's $3 bought you a second chance at being human. Kim Zhao never forgot that. And he made sure Mia Robinson and her mother never had to worry about anything ever again. The smallest act of kindness had triggered the biggest change in Georgia's criminal history. And it all started with a little girl who believed in magic, and a broken man who learned to believe again. If this story touched you, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me about a time when a small act of kindness changed everything for you. And subscribe to this channel because every story we tell here proves that compassion is the most powerful force in the world. Remember, you never know how far your kindness will reach. $3 changed 2 lives forever. Thanks for watching.